store in the entire county. And in the back of that store is a room that has a hidden door. I walked by that wall with the door numerous times with my dad and my granddad. Did not know what was there. So I was taken in with my mom, by my mom, and we went through the door. And in this room was about 8 to 12 other kids about my age. I was 6 years old. And they're all sitting at these little low kindergarten type tables. And they all have puzzles. And they're trying to put the puzzles together. Now, walking around the room is a lady of European descent with an extremely heavy accent. And she comes over to me and helps me take my jacket off and sits me down and asks me if I'd like to play. 6 years old. Of course I want to play. She gives me some puzzle pieces and says, make a picture out of the pieces. Well, for years, since I started to regain all my memories, we had thought that the test itself was making the correct picture with the puzzle pieces. We don't believe that's so now. What we think it was now was the lady's name was Helga. She was a transmitter.
Can you talk just a little bit louder for us? Because if you hold the microphone,
Okay.
just a little bit closer.
She's a good friend of mine. I'm allowed. What we believe now is that Helga was a sender, a transmitter, a psychic transmitter. And the test was to see if I would be a strong enough receiver. Because as the project transgressed through the years, we were mated up with another. One being the transmitter, one being the receiver. One being the spotter, one being the shooter. And that's how we wound up being 2 and 3-person teams, sometimes 5. Okay? But we were always together, the psychic, the soldier. Now, I'm just going to jump around a little bit because I have an hour, and I'm going to assume most of you have seen the interview at one time or another. Okay. Project Talent, the easiest way to explain what Project Talent was, it's basically, or was basically, the taking of other people's talents and using it for their own purposes. Each one of us taken into this project had a specific talent, which the government took, trained, increased, enhanced, and exploited. We were never supposed to regain our memories, but some of us have. In 1966, in the group that I was in, there was 1,000 of us. There's less than 20 today. Half didn't survive. Now, the process, well, first of all, how many knows what multiple personality disorder is? Yeah, it's about what I expected. What they did with us is they split our personalities. This was an artificially induced. And if you look at one of the paintings on the back wall, when you have a chance, you'll see a graphic description of what was done. The alternate personality is the one that was trained in every martial art known to humankind. We were trained to fly every aircraft there was at that time. We were trained in every aspect that you could think of, every art of war, every part of the military there was. We were, in essence, a par elite of soldiers. And we were used all around the world. A lot of our assignments were for termination. a good deal was for intelligence gathering, but by and large, we were assassins, pure and simple. And someone needs to be held responsible for this. So where do we start? Who do we hold responsible now? I'm 50 years old. The people who did this to us in my generation are probably long gone. However, the projects continue under different names, different guises. They still continue. So how do we stop it? Anybody? How do we stop it? I'm just a loudmouth on a stage. That's one. How about we turn ourselves against them? We were created to be a private army in the future. People ask me, what if you're exposing this, you went through all this, why are you still alive? I'm still alive for two reasons. I was part of a project. The project has not ended. It's still ongoing. The reason most of us are still alive is they hope to activate us one last time and be the protectors, the private army of the elite of this country. I'm not going to do it. And I don't know any of us that will. Now, what I'm going to do with the rest of my time is kind of turn this over to the audience. You know, I don't have a whole lot new to talk about. I've pretty much done that. There's a lot of new things that is still in the hypothesis stage. I never say anything as fact unless I have 3 points of reference and proof to back it up. So what I like to do is turn this over to kind of a quasi Q&A, if you don't mind. So if anybody has anything that they would like me to add on to or to explain more, let's do that for a while. Yeah. She got her hand up for you. That's fine. Cool. Save time. Okay.
I know with your multiple personality, they have a way of triggering, to change you. Have you found with any of the other people or with yourself any way to be able to stop that? Whether it be like, I know that we have a third eye and a calcify, and some way that you can fight back by not allowing that to be turned on, because how would you have any control if they turned on something that you don't have any control over?
Well, what happened with me is I was in a car accident about 12 years ago, and I had to have an MRI done on my skull, and it didn't like the chip, or the chip didn't like it. So it's not completely deactivated, but it's been damaged enough. What's going on now with some of us is, this is going to sound so unbelievable. Our alternate personalities are beginning to merge with our primary personalities. What was once two people are now